Hey, Jeff McKinney.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Is this your fault? This has to be your fault, right?
Hey, man, it could have been so much worse.
We're going to be all out looking for orange wine.
Oh my God.
We'd all be drinking the loco.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, that'd be a quick tasting. We all take a sip and then it's like really long, just a whole bunch of booze news. All right. We tried it. Dicks. I hope you got your money's worth.
Except it was getting blackout drunk on Four Loko.
Hi, Wen. Nice to see you. It's vacation. That's why we're all bearded.
We're always bearded. I'm so horrible. Wen was in Colorado Springs and I wasn't able to meet up with her.
Oh, you're the worst.
I am the worst. We had the sickest of households.
Oh yeah, my son shows up with a sick baby. So,
oh God,
dear Grandpa.
I had pink eye. Pink eye.
Who pooped on your face? Then
Don't put the poo poo in the eye. This is gold right here. This should just be the show. Three dudes talking about raising kids and poop.
Oh, the stories.
It's
only after you have kids you realize you shouldn't have got the white furniture.
So, yeah. So my John and Sarah and Yuli left today, but so I decided to go to work a little later. And John wakes up. He's got a bloody nose, and he hands Yuli to us, right? As he's taking care of a bloody nose, and we realize, well, damn it, he needs to have his diaper changed. Thanks, John. We want to be involved grandparents. I don't know if we want to be involved.
That's part of being a proud papa.
That's right. All right. So what stories look good?
Let's see here. There's something that showed up today. Qatar sets 100% sales tax on alcohol in preparation for the 2020 World Cup.
We should talk about that.
I'm not sure what we'll be able to talk about, but okay.
Do you think it's going to stop anybody? No.
Yeah. I wish that my international relations were a little bit more on point, but I have a few things to say. Just a few.
Okay. That one will work. And then what do we got? We got listener mail. We got some changes to how we do the show. We got a discussion on boxed wine. Our final fantasy football minute, which apparently is a big. People enjoy it outside of Wen. That's when nappy. That's when Wen makes popcorn.
Yeah.
So we should do fantasy baseball then.
Oh God. I play it and I don't even want to listen to it.
All right. All right, full show. Let me make sure I'm recording here. I am. Oh, who's maxing out? Give me a mic check, Solomon.
Check.
Oh, you're way low. Give me a mic check, John.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's me maxing out. Fuck it. That's what
how are my levels?
Your levels are good. Your levels are on par with Jeff Solomon.
Hey, how do you feel about doing like an after party talking about like the setup of like hardware or software type of situation?
Yeah, I'm fine with doing that. I need to think about how we would do it. Like, would I have stuff to show to the screen? Kind of run through, because it's, there's like 4 or 5 pieces of equipment that sit here to do all this.
Well, what if, shit, I don't know. I guess maybe it is something we would need to kind of storyboard out, but like on some level, it's like, if that was a video that was attached to when help us out with this. If there was a video that was embedded into a blog post that had pictures of the other things that you're talking about.
Yeah, we could do that.
And you can kind of take notes of like, okay, I should take a picture of this thing. I should take a picture of this thing. I should take a picture of this thing. And, just kind of take notes of that. And then if you did, your little infinity screen and just showed like what Audacity looks like.
Yeah.
I think there would be some, like I said, I had and hi viewers, little inside baseball, right? I was talking to one of my buddies that podcasts, and they always get together live and record things, and I think that they wanted to start kind of doing it this way.
Yeah.
And he was asking about the setup, like the hardware and software setup. It seems like his software setup shouldn't be an issue. He does like Rock Band or whatever, GarageBand.
Yeah.
And it's more of like what is going out to the mixer, what's coming back in. I think
right.
That might be something. But then there might be another thing, like, some people really enjoy listening to us yahoos, and there might be people that wanted to start their own podcast that might just kind of be interested in that.
Yeah,
obviously,
like I said, I'm totally down for doing it. I kind of want to plan out exactly what we would do with it.
Yeah.
Not the free form that we normally do.
Yes.
So I'm down for it for sure.
You want to maybe we can storyboard some stuff out like over the next week, and then maybe next week we'll do an after party with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. In the meantime, can you take a picture of like some of your setup things that I could just send to my buddy and then let him know? Like, I think we'll try to like talk about it next week and like get something. All right.
Yeah, it's he'd need. Yeah, it's not that complicated, but it is that complicated. You know what I mean? It's like you only need a few things, but they're like very specific things that you need.
Yeah. Yeah. So the mixer's not like a fucking.
No, you need this USB to RCA converter.
Okay.
So you guys come in via the Hangout, and then you go out via USB into this converter that takes it to RCA, and the RCA goes to the mixer.
And the RCA is the big thing, like the bottom of your dynamic microphone.
RCA is a little red. There's like a red one and a white one.
Okay, yeah.
So those goes into the mixer. So you two are sitting on one channel on the mixer, and I'm on another channel with my microphone. That's got the XLR connection. But then you have to go RCA back out the mixer into this converter, and then that goes through the same USB back into the laptop where Audacity records it.
Wait, so are you muting yourself coming out of the Hangout into the mixer so it's just me and John going in, or are you going in twice?
No, I go from my microphone to the mixer, and then the mixer into my laptop where you hear me.
Okay.
And that's the part that is hard.
Yeah.
And then being able to get the audio files, the sound waves to it as well. Whoa. That's why you need all this stuff. So, all right. That was boring for everybody, but
master class over here. Wen says, as a guest, it's easy peasy. And all the people I know who've listened say that your podcast sounds fabulous compared to others they listen to. Well, fucking A. Thanks, Wen.
Thanks, Wen.
Preaching to the choir. I knew that already. No.
All right. You guys ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I should change it to Wen. Hold on. Let's see if I have that queued up.
This is Stacey.
Nope.
Same difference.
Make Wen listen to herself. All right, here we go.
Hi, all. This is Wen, aka Green Lake Girl from Twitter. And tonight, hashtag When Does We Like Drinking podcast, where you never drink alone.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
This week on episode 208 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be answering questions from our listeners, sneaking a little booze news for the new year, and we'll be chastising a handful of our Patreons because they're forcing us to drink boxed wine. So crack open your beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking. Oh man, my volume's all messed up, so everything's extra quiet coming in. So I'm getting the oomph behind that there on the opening. Didn't feel right.
We can do it again.
Nah.
That's not how we roll.
New year, same shitty show. So cheers, my podcast drinking friends, and welcome to Happy Hour 208 of the only two-time award-winning topical beer and wine educated. Finish it off for me, Jeff.
We focus on fun.
So if you like the professionalism that you're hearing so far, and like to help us out, considering leaving us a review on Apple Podcast, give us a big fat 5-star review or something. You can tell it's been a couple of weeks since we got together, shaking the rust off.
I missed you guys. I did.
I missed you guys too. Not listeners. You didn't miss us because we released episodes as normal because we're professional like that.
Yeah,
all right.
And because you subscribe.
We busted our tails recording day after day after day so you guys could stay informed and entertained.
And yet we still sounded like heck of poignant and topical. How the hell did that happen?
Oh, if you sense a difference in sound this evening, particularly for me, I've decided to join the 20th century. And I got a new laptop and a microphone.
You're rocking that Yeti, huh?
Yeah, I am.
Looks nice. You got to put the little foam tip protector on it if you want to look real cool like me. Hey,
yeah, I haven't sent that to him yet though.
Otherwise, the spit collects in the screen, and then the sound quality goes down. Is that the deal?
Jeff Eccles, your mom is in the chat right now, and she's wondering whether or not you've already had too much boxed wine today.
it's entirely possible. The kids still are on break.
Oh, hi, Annette.
All right. Where are we at? All right, so we should probably introduce ourselves just in case people don't know who we are. We are joined by our usual panel members. We've got our wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
Hello.
We have our beer brewer, John Ruyak.
Hey, folks.
God, John, you sound it's like you're not talking through a telephone. It's amazing. And I am your host, Jeff Eccles. Now, listeners, you know what we do. Once a month, we like to have a drinking episode. And I have to tell you about some horrible decisions that we made as a collective team this last month. For a while, we were going to the tavern, our private Facebook group, and giving them some options, saying, which of these would you like to see us do? And then we would take it to the Patreons, and the Patreons would get the final vote. So last month, we said, let's just give it to the tavern wide open, not giving them anything to go on, and let them come up with the list themselves. So I started it off, and John chimed in with South African wine. I thought that was really good. Steven Seelock, our good friend from Pacific Rim Winery, he chimed in with orange wine. I thought that would be a good one. And then let me just say it. God damn you, Kern. Kern jumps in with boxed wine comparative tasting. And then our enemy, our frenemy, Heron Z, jumps in and says, get blackout drunk on Four Loko. And all of a sudden, all the votes start rolling in because the tavern has a bunch of jackasses that says get crazy drunk on Four Loko, boxed wine. What was else? Orange wine and South African made the final cut. Those were the top 4 that the tavern did. And so then we had to go to the Patreons, and it was like sweating bullets. Like, please, I don't want to drink Four Loko. So, listeners, as you can see, if you're watching, we are drinking some boxed wine this evening.
Oh,
Jeff
nice.
Solomon, go ahead, John.
Huh? No, I didn't have anything.
I was going to say it was nice that we're all holding up boxes that all of those things were options for me. And none of us went with like Franzia or anything like that. It's crazy. I roll home with this big box and Kara goes, boxed wine? And I go, yeah, the patrons chose, this is what we're doing. And she goes, oh yeah, I think I voted for that. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're stuck with this.
That's actually the one you have is really good. I've had that one before.
Okay.
You'll be happy with that one. So there it is. We're drinking boxed wine tonight. But first, before we tap these plastic bags, now let's roll into the new year. We have been doing the segment Grape, Hop, or Pop Culture Reference for quite a long time, and it has been a lot of fun. But don't worry, we're not retiring it, but we are tweaking a little bit, basically because I was really starting to run out of hops to use. So
there's 300 varieties.
I know, but I mean, the UHC 452 strain isn't exactly going to confuse anyone. So we are now calling it, wait for it. We are now calling it it's going to get a lot harder because now it's wine, beer, or pop culture reference. So it's either going to be a wine, a beer, or a pop culture reference. And we're going to rotate the owner of this one. And this week, it is Jeff Solomon's turn to wow us with his questioning skills.
With his wowiness. And I will say, I mean, can we just lay some ground rules out now just in case this comes up later on? Any sort of beer related thing, any sort of wine related thing, I think could follow it. If you want to work a hops variety in, that's cool. If you want to work grapes in, that's cool. But I think that might kind of help us out. I think that would be a lot more funner. Yeah. And with those more variations, I think it would be a lot more difficult for folks to hit it right on the head. So
yeah, and we have to think ahead. We have to be able to have plenty of choices for episode 857.
That's right. And we definitely want there to be a higher failure rate by the people that are laid down guessing.
If you're not failing, you're not trying. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
For tonight's wine, beer, or pop culture reference, the term is Brundelmeier. Is Brundelmeier a wine, a beer, or a pop culture reference? Jeff?
Okay, you're going with the like you own it, dude. You got a Brundelmeier. Okay, so we're obviously looking at something German. Brundelmeier. I am going to go with a beer on this one. Possibly a brewery, but I'm just going to go with a beer from Czechoslovakia.
A beer from Czechoslovakia. Jeff Eckel says Brundelmeier is a beer from Czechoslovakia. John Ruyak.
I was thinking it's kind of it's a German name, so you're trying to throw a curveball at us. So I'm thinking it's a wine from the Rhine in Germany.
A wine from the Rhine, says Jane. Okay, so by the way, no one asked how to spell it. So for our audience members, it's Brundelmeier, spelled B-R-U with an umlaut, Ndlmayer. Brundelmeyer.
Oh, see, that changes everything. Yeah,
You should know that Willy Brundelmeyer farms 75 hectares of Gruner, Riesling, and a bunch of Burgundian varieties in the heart of Austria. 10 of his wines were found in James Suckling's 2017 list of the best wines of Austria, which either speaks really highly to the quality of his wines or it tells you that Mr. Suckling needs to taste more wines from Austria. Brundelmeyer. It's a wine.
Nicely done. Well
So
done.
I was half right.
Basically.
I was not at all. I was completely wrong. All right. Okay. Boxed wine discussion. Here we go. So let's run through what we have real quick. I'm going to go first. I went with the Boda Brick. There's a Boda box and a Boda Brick. I went with the Redvolution. So this is a California blend. The Boda Brick is a 1.5 liter. The Boda box is a 3 liter. So I went with the 1.5 liter box of a red California blend. John Ruyak.
I got well, I came back from Costa Rica one time and Sharon had this on the counter and it was kind of old since she got it right as I left. So the shelf life on these things says 6 weeks. I believe it's closer to 3. But it's the Black Box Malbec.
Malbec, and that is a Chilean, I believe, correct?
It is a Chilean Malbec, correct,
Okay,
not
and
Argentinian.
Jeff Solomon.
Well, what I got was the non-vintage rosé wine from the south of France. This is La Vielle Ferme. It's the one with the rooster on it, and you're probably used to seeing, and not the I'm not talking about Sangiovese, not that rooster, right? Or not Chianti, right?
Yeah.
This is, you'll see this in most grocery stores on the bottom shelf. I'm actually holding up a bottle of their white right now of La Vielle Ferme, and everybody please tell me how I'm totally mispronouncing that. So these bottles right here usually run in like the $4 or $5 range. And I'm holding up this bottle of white right here because they didn't have the rosé in a bottle available, but I did want to kind of I'm cleansing my palate right now with this white Rhone blend, just so when I get to the box, even though it's a rosé wine, I want to see if I can pick out some boxiness or some bagginess from the wine, if you will. So I think that's kind of what I'm looking for here. What's interesting is that their bottles come vintage dated. Their boxes do not. But I did find that it was bagged and boxed in 2017, which tells me, yeah, I know. Well, it's tough because it's 2019, but really, I mean, a couple days ago, I don't think you would have cringed as much. But it does tell you that it was probably harvested in 2016, bagged and boxed. But it's non-vintage, so it means it could have been like some Solera action, right?
Solera rosé.
Yeah, this rosé is in the Saunier method, and so maybe it took a couple years to bleed out enough rosé to fill a bag. So don't worry, my shit. You're like, oh, yours is gonna be great. No, it'll be cringeworthy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one thing about boxed wines. The bag is great. Like John said, they say you can last up to 6 weeks after you open it. Yeah, John, I don't know if I'd say 3, but I think 4. I think 4 weeks, 4 to 5 is kind of your kind of tail end of how far you should really take it. But the stuff that is bagged really has about a year of a shelf life before you open it. So this is definitely not something you're meant to age. And that's why I kind of got a little cringe when Jeff said his rosé was bagged in 2017 because it was most likely April-ish of 2017. So it may be a little baggy.
It's a year and a half old, dude. Relax.
Okay.
Maybe a little TCA leaked into my wine. Maybe a little THC. I don't know. Who knows?
THC.
Isn't that what they make the bags out of? PCP? A little PCP in my wine. Never heard anybody.
Or some TCH. It's
Is that French for angel dust on the box?
or maybe some BPA or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one thing. We've got about a year for it to last. There's a lot of environmental positives to the boxed wine. It's cheaper to make than the glass bottles. It's more environmentally friendly than the glass bottles. It's easier to store them because they're in the boxes. All this stuff. I'm not really breaking any new ground by.
You know what? I don't think people really do recognize how easy it is to store a box of wine, especially like this one that's a little bit longer than it is narrow. This is a rectangular prism that I'm holding here. I laid this thing down on its side like you should always do with a nice wine. And I put it in the crisper drawer next to my celery. These things are because honestly, like, have you ever like been to somebody's house where they're laying down bottles of wine inside the fridge and they're just rolling around all over the place? Like, come on, like this is a Nebuchadnezzar right now that was sitting in my crisper. It's good.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's easier to stack. It's cheaper on a per drink basis. Just from a consumption perspective, this is something you can just keep around your house for a month, and just have a glass of wine each night, without having to like get out a Report or a Coravin or any of that stuff. You can just have a glass and you're good to go.
And it's nice because you got that bag that is essentially like it's deflating as it's losing that juice. So you're not getting, there might be a little bit of atmospheric air that leaks into it, but it does a pretty good job of like kind of pushing everything out as it's letting that wine out. So you're getting really limited oxygen exposure.
Which is why it's able to last as long as it does. And here's the thing, Kara said, "Oh, boxed wine." That's a real big stigma to the boxed wine movement, if you will, is that it was kind of led by Franzia and White Zin for a long time, right? And then in 2005-ish, John Ruick's kind of drinking, the black box wine, which is really kind of the trailblazer of we can put good wine into boxes. And you're seeing a lot more now. I've got the Boda, which is a really popular one. Fisheye is another one coming out of Australia. They're putting some good juice in there as well. And so what you're going to get out of a boxed wine, in my opinion, I'm going to say that this is my opinion of it, is you can get good weekday wines out of these boxes. You can get stuff that's going to be good it's just, you want a glass of wine on a weeknight. You don't want to open a bottle. This is a good thing to have around. Now, because like I said, you're not really looking at a container that can store wine for long term, for 5 years or anything like that. So you're not going to get high quality, really fine wine ever into this vehicle, if you will. But I think that there's good options for a good weekday wine that you can get with a boxed wine for less money, and it'd be just as good as in the bottle, which Jeff Solomon is going to either prove or disprove to us.
Yes, that's very possible. I also wanted to say, and I really did want to stick to the rules. So I got something in a box. I was so pleased with the amount of wines that were available in cans. As I was looking at the boxes, like it's exploding. And I think that, maybe we should do a separate tasting sometime, or maybe it's valuable to talk about this now. And I know we kind of keep bringing it up, but I was looking at this rosé, this 3 liters of rosé right here, I was like, man, I wish I could just pick up that $4 can of rosé that's sitting right next to it. And I had a lot more options. So I think that's something else that we should be thinking about. It's just, our last episode, Mr. Rudolph. Why am I forgetting your first name?
Jeremy
Rudolph, the red-nosed Oscar Blues can man. I was just thinking about that conversation that we had last week that was really like, almost 2 weeks ago. I really think that the big thing is like, put these things in front of you and really try them. If you're going off of stigma, if you're going off of, I tried some wine from a box when I was 12, I think it's important to maybe try it again and just see. See.
And it's shocking the options, like how many different producers there are now. So let's taste these things up.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
Well, I just wanted to point out maybe one of the things, a couple of things about box wine is, obviously you talked about the quality. You're not going to get ageable wines in a box wine. It does remove some of the romance of opening a bottle. But yeah.
When you talk about romance, I just pulled this plastic drip stop off right now. That's romantic. I honestly, I put my finger inside of this box and felt for a nozzle and yanked it out earlier. That's not romantic. Yanking a nozzle out of a box?
No.
You're ripping off a little plastic doohickey?
But here, this might be a little bit more socially responsible reason, though, is it's when you drink a bottle of wine, you get a visual representation of how much you're drinking.
Yes.
So,
I suppose you're right.
You're right. So you can see that you've emptied a bottle or 4, or in the case of my house on Christmas, 12. Anyway. But with the box, it just collapses. You could, how parties are. You get together with some friends, and all of a sudden you're drinking, and all of a sudden, wow,
kegs empty.
Yeah, kegs empty. Or I've had more than I anticipated because I'm not getting that visual clue about how much I've consumed.
Tell me that's not romantic. Some frothy rosé that just dumped
that looked like that Miller beer that they have in champagne bottles.
I think this is an orange wine. I just emptied my bladder into a glass. That's not romantic.
I will say when I poured mine, it came out so fast I didn't have to worry about aerating my glass.
No, not at all. All right. Frothy. Oh, that was all right. John, let's start with you there on the Black Box Malbec.
Now, I will say this. Yes, this is a 2017, and the what the heck? I mean, look, it says this Malbec explodes with juicy blueberry, violet, tobacco, and chocolate flavors. A complex wine with medium body and a velvety finish.
That sounds great.
Can plastic taste like velvet or feel like anyway? I mean, the nose is nice for sure. I did cheat and take a little sip. Right away, but the nose in this is pretty nice. This box is a little cool. It was sitting near our back door, and it's been freaking 15 degrees in Albuquerque for the last week. So this is a little bit cooler than cellar temperature, but on the palate, well, that blueberry they talk about is like, boy, I could taste that before it actually hit my mouth. It was just like,
so
blueberry.
plenty of mega purple in it, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, does it taste like fakey fake? Because that's the thing where it's like, man, sometimes that blueberry is like perfect. But yeah, if it's like all fakey perfumed blueberry, that's not a.
I wouldn't say it's fakey perfumed blueberry, but it was really way more apparent than what I anticipated. The violet notes that they mention are pretty. Don't want to say pronounced, but definitely I don't get any tobacco. The chocolate's kind of muted that they talk about. What I did want to ask, however, is Malbec's pretty good with meat, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to have a big juicy steak when you eat a Malbec. We record late in the evening past dinner time, but I was wondering, it could be good for barbecue too. But what do you think about habanero barbecue almonds? Do you think that would be a good
almonds? I'll be honest with you. Almonds are a tough pairing. Almonds are a really tough pairing.
Yeah, to me, I almost like a white wine or a sparkling wine. And
almonds are so drying, like they're so drying on your palate that you want like a white wine or something with some good acidity or crispness to it.
Have you ever had, by the way, that fakey fake almond champagne?
I have.
Or almond sparkling wine. It's very popular in Northern California and along the Central Coast because there's basically one company that makes almond sparkling wine for everybody that wants to sell it in their tasting room, and they just slap their own labels on it. But God, that stuff is like, if you've never had it before, you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then eventually you're like, okay, I'm fucking sick of this. Where's your almond tree? Where are you doing your shit? You start asking those questions. And they're like, I don't know. Here, drink some more. Get out of here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say,
What's the, like, is it very tannic? Or what's the outside of blueberry? What are you getting on it? Man, it's going to be a long show, people. We haven't gotten together in a while, so just deal with it.
The tannins are pretty medium. The acidities, I would say, kind of low. I'm not, it's not a juice. I'm not getting a huge salivary response out of this. I mean, some for sure, but the tannic structure is pretty low. So, that I would want a little bit more tannins to go with some of the really upfront fruity and fruit flavors from the blueberry that I mentioned and the violet, but it's really not there. And maybe, you're putting it in a bag, so maybe tannins, a highly tannic wine is just not a good combination for something like that, which is kind of why I steered away from a Cabernet Sauvignon. I didn't.
And I think it's also geared towards, the demographic of who's buying the boxed wine as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You beat me to that.
I'm wondering, does it taste boxy or baggy in any way? Like, is there any sort of like?
I don't get any. No. Yeah. And I know what I would be looking for, and I don't get that at all. But it doesn't. I can't taste it. I'm sure it's only mental. I'm like, I know it came out of a plastic bag. Whereas I bet if you put it side by side and the same wine was poured out of a bottle, I could tell the difference. I might not be able to tell you which one was which, but I bet you I could tell a difference between the two.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. All right, Solomon, let's do your comparative taste. The only person that followed the rules. Let's do your comparative tasting.
Okay. So earlier, again, I was pre-gaming with a bottle of the 2017 La Vieille Ferme white wine. Runs about like $4 or $5 at your local grocery store, if you live in a state where you can buy wine at a grocery store. I'm comparing that to what I just poured. I just emptied my bladder from this box of their rosé into this glass of the La Vieille Ferme. And I'm sorry, that second word is spelled Vieille. I think that means village or something. I don't know. Fucking know.
Vieille.
La Vieille Ferme. Does that mean like the strong rooster? The strong rooster. I'm gonna call it the strong rooster. So I poured the rosé. It's kind of like a salmon color. And again, there's no vintage on here, but I did see a little stamp that said it was boxed in 2017. On the nose, yeah, it's very rosé like some citrus zest, River Rock mineralite.
Nice.
Yeah, it doesn't smell unrosé like, and it doesn't smell boxy. And I don't even know what boxy would even, because I know it's in a bag inside of a cardboard box.
Right.
It doesn't smell baggy, I
Okay.
should say.
All right. Well, how's it taste?
On the palate, don't rush me, man. Sorry, now you got me giggling. Okay.
Drink it like it pours, fast and frothy.
Come on, no spit takes on the show now. Come on, stop. Don't look at me. Don't listen. Everybody stop listening to. Yeah, it's clean. Grapefruit zest, orange zest. Again, some of that like gravelly, like wet gravel. Lime, lemon, whole lot of citrus going on right here. Not sweet. And that's something like, it was weird because normally, I hate even that conversation like, oh, people think rosés are going to be sweet. Like, no, they're dry. But when I was looking for rosé in a bag in a box, I was a lot more fearful that I would come across a sweet one. So I was so glad that I came across this. Like these guys this is from the Perrine family that does Chateau de Beaucastel and Chateauneuf de Pape, right?
Yep.
Like they're not going to steer you wrong. So absolutely bone dry, no residue. I like this. This is held up in that bag, Jeff, since
Nice.
2017. I really like this a lot. And I think, over the next day or two, I think Kara will be glad that she voted for a bag and a box on this episode.
Way happier than if she had voted for Four Loko.
Certainly.
All right. Now I've got I've got the Boda Brick. This is the Red Volution California Red Blend.
That is a shitty name.
It really is. It really
That
is.
sounds like that should be the name of like a red IPA from like Bro House. Bro House Brewery. This is our Red Volution IPA.
So the nose on this one, there's not a lot going on. I get some flowery notes, like some violet or some kind of flower, but really like no fruit or any. It's just like flowers and alcohol are what I'm getting on the nose on this one. So I'm super excited to taste this one up. And on the palate,
he went stemless tonight for you guys. Very laid back.
okay. There's not a lot of tannic structure on this one, similar to what John was saying. But I like I said, I don't think that really has anything to do with the box than the market that they're really trying to sell the wine to. I do get some nice dark cherries on the palate. A little bit of acidity. It's kind of fruit forward. No real residual sugar. It's not really. I mean, there may be a little bit of residual sugar, but it's not coming through as like sweet. It's not apothic or anything like that. It's not apothic Brewhaven or Brouhaha or anything like that.
Remember when our patrons made us drink that garbage?
Oh God, that was horrible.
That was actually me, I think.
I think it was you. I'm
Sorry.
100% sure it was you, actually.
Sorry.
Not bad. This isn't bad. I tell you, this would. I think a lot of people would gravitate towards this. I think a lot of people think this would be a tasty little treat, like a cocktail party or something like that. I think if I was gonna go back, I would maybe go for a variety, a specific variety as opposed to a blend, just because you never know what you're gonna get with the blend. This seems like it probably has some Merlot in it, probably some Zin. You know, I don't even know if there's any cab in this one. Maybe some Pinot. Or, you know, it's really not that dark. So I don't know. It's not bad. It's not really my thing though. What I would normally drink.
Don't they sell Big House Red in a box?
Yeah, they do.
That is a nice red blend in a box right there. You have me thinking about that. You know, formerly owned by Bonnie Doon. That one has always been kind of a legit boxed wine. If y'all were looking for a blend. And this right here, La Vie, the strong rooster. This is a blend. This is like Grenache Cinsault Mourvèdre, I think. It's dope. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe the strong rooster should eat the cherry pie that you had on that other one.
Oh God. Oh, I don't get that. You know what? That wine may well have been good, but cherry pie is the worst name for a winery, and their labels suck. And I'm sure there's like some huge cherry pie heads out there right now. But like, seriously, change the. I don't know how they're commanding the price point that they are.
Are
Fuck
they
you,
owned
cherry
by
pie.
are they owned by the guys from Warrant or something? I mean,
Winger.
Something Ugly Kid Joe.
All right. Anything else on the boxed wine, guys?
yeah, I did want to say
Okay.
that as mine warmed up, some of that blueberry faded out, and I got more chocolate notes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it just I should have followed the instructions and done more of a comparative. I don't recall having a Chilean Malbec before. I'm more used to, Mendoza, Argentinian Malbecs, where it's more dark fruit and tobacco as opposed to the kind of the lighter blueberry and chocolate notes that I'm getting out of this.
And I don't even know if that's really indicative of Chile. Like I always think like just green, razor clean green on the backbone of those reds. But yeah, it's interesting. I'd love to see something like more of like an archetypal thing. That's why I was so happy with this, because this is really an archetypal French rosé.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, like, bag or no bag, like there's no difference. Like it's delicious. It's
Agreed.
great. Yeah.
Agreed.
And you save yourself like 50 cents per supposed bottle essentially by buying this. So
yeah, do it.
I feel like I'm voguing right now.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's move on. We still have a lot to cover and not a lot of time to do it. So what?
Do we?
We do. So let's move into listener mail. So we have a question this week. This is a good one. Dolly, our good friend Dolly asks, so the wife bought me a Coravin Model 2 as a Christmas gift. I haven't opened it yet. Do you fellows have any opinion as to if these things actually work? I've heard some stories expressing dissatisfaction over long-term preservation of bottles. Some claim it's good if you drain the bottle in a month or so, but they'd use the Coravin on an expensive bottle, and when they open the same bottle in a year or so, the wine has gone to shit. Any input you can provide will be greatly appreciated. So this is an excellent question.
I will say, Wen is watching right now, and she's jumping up in the chat in all caps. Love mine, love it, love it. And so I think maybe as we're talking, like, Wen, if you could put some other stuff out there, she's saying like use it up to 3 months. Is her time frame there, and that seems about right. Can y'all remind me, Coravin, once you put it on, like, you can't take it off, or is that the one where it's a needle, you inject it and then you can pull it out and then you can inject it more again later, and it's spraying argon in as it's taking wine out, so there really shouldn't be an issue there? Correct. Yeah, and I'd envision there probably is going to be some leakage along the way. when saying don't go a year, and I would say if you have one, and I don't have one, but I know like, you know, Val and Steph do, Wen loves hers. I don't think it's something where it's like you've got this library where once a year you pour yourself one glass
That's kind of
from the finest bottle.
Okay, but that's kind of their thing, right? I mean, that's kind of their marketing is to do that, right? Because I mean, that's kind of what they sell. So here's what I'll say to it, and I don't have one either, but I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and I will say it's about 50-50. What I hear a lot of is two things. Like Wen said, a year. She said, don't go over a year. What I've heard is once you get to about half the bottle, you should just open it and finish it.
Okay.
For that, so, you know, so have a couple of glasses over a certain amount of time. But once you get down to that half bottle, when you've replaced half the bottle with the argon gas, it's time to just take the cork off and finish the thing off. That's kind of a common theme I've heard from a lot of people. I have heard people that have said, nope, I have never had a problem. I've come back a year later and it's been fine. But I would say half to a little bit more have said, once you get about halfway done, just finish it.
Isn't the big complaint with them like the cost of the argon cartridges and how quickly you go through those?
You know, I haven't heard that one, but there is a cost there. I think they're like $8 a cartridge or something like that. So, I mean, you're going to be spending money to use those argon, those gases.
You don't want to use argon in your pellet gun.
No. You know,
I'm a pump action guy. Sorry.
So when can you speak to it all? If the half bottle thing, or you're saying 3 months or so is about as far as you go?
When is saying, you know, maybe 1 or 2 glasses and maybe 6 months tops. But I also keep seeing, and she's typing frantic. She's very passionate about this. What I'm also seeing is like, you know, really think about it more like a 3 to 6 month lifespan for those wines once you start taking that liquid out. And yeah, all that seems to make sense to me. And I don't want to poo-poo on like such a thoughtful gift that somebody got you a Coravin for Christmas. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I might also say you could always hit us up at welikeDrinking.com/affiliates and get yourself a repour for a couple bucks, and that'll last you that one wine glass forever in perpetuity.
But okay, here's the one benefit the Coravin has over the repour is that you can lay the bottle back down.
Oh,
you can't do that with the repour, right? So there are definitely positives to the Coravin. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic gift, and I think you just use it the right way. You know, as the community says, you know, a few glasses here and then fit. I mean, because if you get down to half a bottle, I mean, at that point, why not just open it and finish it?
Well, you are piercing the cork, and the more argon, the more space of argon you put on top of the wine, nature wants to reach equilibrium, and the more of a single thing you put in a space, it's going to fight. Nature's going to fight that much harder to get through and, you know, mix in oxygen and all those things that are going to degrade the wine. So it's just basic physical chemistry. You've pierced the cork. It's nature's going to do everything in its power to make sure that argon gets dispersed back into the atmosphere.
Well, I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Goldblum, fresh from Jurassic Park. Nature finds a way. I'm hearing, or I'm seeing Wen also saying that she uses the Coravin on screw caps. Like, do you pierce the fucking aluminum?
No, so you have to you have to unscrew the cap and then put a Coravin screw cap on.
Oh, Coravan has its own screw caps.
Yeah, so you put a screw cap back on it that has a cork on the top of it, and then
Screw cap with a cork?
that's my understanding.
Oh my god. Raymond Graham's rolling in his grave in the future. Like, what the fuck?
Is that correct, Wen? I think that's how it works.
I think so. She'll get back to us in 5 minutes. She said she's gonna post a pic on Twitter. That's Green Lake Girl on Twitter. GrNLakeGirl.
So check it out on Twitter. Dolly's not on Twitter, so he's like, God damn you kids. On your Twitters.
Dolly, we'll try to send you a picture.
Yeah. We'll get you. We'll just let that email. But yeah, that's what I think that would be our collective recommendation is 6 months max and half bottle max. And once you reach one of those criteria, it's time to just drain the bottle. Sound good, guys?
Yeah.
Good to me.
Since none of us have ever used one.
Nobody got me a fucking Coravan for Christmas or Hanukkah. You had 9 chances to get me. So on my birthday, that's 10. 10 chances to give me a Coravan this year.
Hey, you got a Christmas present from We Like Drinking today
That's true.
in January.
This is also true.
You know, because I'm on top of things.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dolly, for your question. We will get you an email out with the Coravan screw cap alternative option. But now, how long are we in already? Oh my God.
42 minutes.
Come
How much?
on.
How much, John?
Oh, I have no idea. I just, we went off the rails, so I figured it was 42 minutes.
Oh yeah. That sounds about right. All right. Well, then let's get into booze news. We discuss interesting, noteworthy, or sometimes some pretty stupid things. Good. Jeff Solomon's leading this one.
Hey, man, here's the time where I totally fuck up international business relations, economics. This is going to be fantastic. But I was super excited to see this. Our friend Nancy, who is in the tavern, who is also really good friends with my wife, I saw she posted something on Facebook earlier today about how the tiny and very, very rich country of, or I'm sorry, state of Qatar or Qatar is setting a 100% sales tax on alcohol in preparation of the 2020 World Cup. Now, I think we need to backtrack just a little bit. And let's think about some of the things that might be happening that kind of lead up to this. We just had a World Cup in Russia, and you remember how quickly beer ran out in Russia. And so some people are saying that, Qatar is setting this up because, you place this premium on this beer and they're not going to be able to run out. There are other things that we need to consider here, right? We need to consider that Qatar is the state of Qatar is a Muslim country that does not necessarily condone drinking. There are not very many places to buy alcohol. I believe there's one registered liquor dispensary in the state of Qatar. If you're staying at a hotel, like the restaurants inside the hotel could offer that to you. But the other thing that was really interesting to me about Qatar is that, if you're an actual like native born Qatari, like you're fucking rich, dude. You are rich. So the thing that's nuts is like in Qatar, 15% of the people that live there are like natural born citizens, and the rest of them are like expatriates moving there for business purposes. It's one of the most well-developed countries in the Middle East. They're sitting on a buttload of natural gas and oil oil reserves. They sell more liquid natural gas than anybody in the world. It's also just this has nothing to do with this whole drinking thing. I just think it's really interesting that they are currently being embargoed by their only land border, which is Saudi Arabia, as well as Egypt, as well as everybody else in the region. But the Saudis hate the Qataris so much that along the border, they're actually digging a trench and they're trying to turn Qatar into an island. Into a fucking island, right? And the thing is, it's like, I just think this is so awesome. If you live in, by the way, there's no income tax in Qatar. There's no sales tax in Qatar except for the selective taxes on health damaging goods, such as alcohol, such as tobacco, such as pork products. And so I just think this is so awesome because it's like, if you're the Qatari government, why wouldn't you do this? We don't drink anyways. There's a bunch of hoodlums that are going to come into our country. And it's like, well, fuck you. If you're drinking, you're going to pay for it. And all of these taxes go straight back into the pockets of native-born Qataris, dude. I want to be a Qatari. I would be charging 200% on booze. So they were saying something like a case of beer when you go to Qatar now is going to cost you a little bit over $100. Your best bet is to get a bottle of Australian Shiraz for $23. So
There you go.
you know,
No,
it's
get a box.
yeah.
Get a fisheye box of Australian Shiraz.
So you could get this box right here of La Vieille Ferme for what, like $38.
There you
It's
go.
not bad.
It's a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also like that they're doing this in what is going to be the hottest World Cup ever, that they're having to move to the winter to get the temperatures to like 120 degrees when they're playing. And then they're going to tack 100% sales tax on a cool, refreshing Bud Light to try to cool your body down a little bit.
No, what you do is you go take a dip in that trench that the Saudis are digging. I can't believe that one country is trying to turn another country into an island. That's like the greatest thing ever. It's horrible, but it's great. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is not surprising. I mean, take advantage of the situation if you're in that position. May as well.
did you know that if you wanted to start a business in Qatar as an expat from another country, you are only allowed to hold up to a 49% stake, and the Qataris themselves own the other 51%?
That's genius.
It's fucking bad. Why don't we do this?
Let's make this happen.
How do we become Qataris?
We have to cross the trench, apparently.
Shit. we gotta wait for the Saudis to dig it. Okay.
Wait a minute. We can just empty a bunch of wine boxes and refill the bags with water, and we can float across.
Dude.
Okay, before this goes any further, John,
Okay,
you have-
Well,
okay.
I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, if you want to go broke, just go to the World Cup in Qatar and drink a bunch of beer and eat bacon double cheeseburgers, because you're just going to pay taxes out the ass, right?
I mean, that's the thing. I guess I'm wondering, like, to all the World Cup fans out here that were like freaking out, like, not going to fucking Qatar. It's way too expensive. You're not going. Relax. Watch it on TV like you always do. By the way, everybody that says that they're like really hardcore soccer fans, I have to believe that they're lying. Like, that's not real. People don't really watch soccer. Because if they did, you know, it'd be on TV. which it's not.
It's on TV out here. I don't know what you're talking about.
No. It would be on It would be preempting shit.
Mm.
Yeah. Soccer's a bullshit game. Bullshit people.
Wow.
That's right. All you listen.
Oh, here we go. Hold on.
All you fair weather soccer fans, this is what gets them. All you fair weather soccer fans waiting for the weather to be fair. Quit listening to our show.
All right.
I think I had a little bit too much of this boxed wine.
It's been too long since we hung out. Good. Oh, good. You know what? We're not going to go to you yet, Jeff. We've gone to you too much tonight.
This episode sponsored by 23andMe. Let's see if you're Qatari.
What the hell? Hey, folks! If you're not hip to the tavern or to our Twitter feed, themanual.com came out this week with the 15 best mother bleeping podcasts to listen to in 2019. You've got stuff from The Onion, you've got stuff from the New York Times, you've got stuff from ESPN, you've got something from fucking Dax Shepard on there. And you know who else you got on this list of the 15 best podcasts to listen to in 2019? We Like Drinking.
That's great. And by the way, for all the new listeners coming over from the manual, we're so sorry. They sold you a bill of goods. We're not that good.
So to themanual.com, to Sam Slaughter, thank you guys so much for including us in that list. That was a huge shock. My heart skipped a beat when I saw it, and we were super excited to see that. And I am 100% sure that the New York Times, ESPN, The Onion, all these people are so excited to be on the list with We Like Drinking, a two-time award-winning podcast like We Like Drinking. It has made their year of 2019 already a bright, shining beacon of hope for the rest of their media arms.
30 for 30 is all like, finally, we're getting some respect.
Make sure the New York Times is focusing on fun.
That's right. Something they haven't done in 200 years. Okay. All right, Jeff Solomon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Prepare yourself for the final chapter of Bump, 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 Bump.
Yes, this is true.
That's it.
I'm preparing myself right now. This is my favorite part of this whole thing is I know it's coming and I always fucking forget. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So
you kind of got 2 weeks to cover. So
do I really? Okay.
Do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah, sure. It's been a while since we've talked about the We Like Drinking Fantasy Football League. So as we left off, we were going into the semifinals. Mm-hmm. We had Dimitri, who is perpetually stuck in an airport as the number 1 seed, going into the Hype Machine Dome against Ryan Hannigan. And Dimitri just demoralized Ryan Hannigan 130 to 108. Shout out to Alvin Kamara and Jalen Samuels for leading the charge that week. And our own main Jeff, as the number 3 seed, went up against Jeremy from Under the Bridge. And he also laid the beat down on Jeremy. Way to go, Jeff. 130 to 113. Alshon Jeffrey and Dalvin Cook leading the charge that week. So congratulations. And no love for Jeremy for starting Adam friggin' Humphries that week. Adam Humphries, the number 4 receiver on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Number 4. So anyways, going into the championship week, playing for 3rd place, Jeremy from Under the Bridge going up against the Hype Machine, Ryan Hannigan. Jeremy finally stepped up. He actually finally had a good showing. He scored 163 to 137. Jeremy was led into battle by Matt Ryan, Matty Ice. He also started Elijah McGuire that week. Zach Ertz and Damian Williams all just destroyed. I think Zach Ertz had like 2 or 3 touchdowns that week. So congratulations, Jeremy. You're third best. I have one more championship than you do, Jeremy. I just want to let you know that. And as we go into the first place showdown, it was Dimitri stuck in the airport against the Maine Jeff Eccles. Oh, Maine.
Man.
Oh, Maine.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Jeff Eccles, 121. Not bad. Dimitri stuck in the airport, 165.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is his father. Baker Mayfield threw 3 touchdowns that week. Dougie Baldwin went for 126 and a TD. Alvin Kamara went off. Jalen Samuels had a great game. George Kittle. He started Jordan Howard of all people. That guy's horrible.
Yeah, and what'd he do?
I scored a touchdown or 2. So congratulations, Dimitri. We're so glad that you could, Dimitri being in the league is part of what makes this league so special, because it's like, I think Dimitri started kind of listening to the show and joining the tavern and becoming a Patreon and joined the league all around the same time.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think maybe that's something that we've learned here. This is the lesson of all of this, is that if you interact with our awesome dedicated fans, if you become a patron of the show, you too can hold a fake trophy over everybody else's head. Me and Dimitri are the only 2
here we go
that can claim that title of being We Like Drinking Fantasy Football Champions. I'm looking looking forward to next year. It'll probably be either me or Dimitri that wins next year's. Probably me though. Dimitri's busy, studying for cases or something
like that. Yeah. And I would say, I held the top spot for 8 weeks. Dimitri held it for 4. It had to come down to the 2 of us. I mean, the 2 leaders of the season from the very beginning to the very end. I mean, it was destiny that it would come down to Dimitri and I.
I mean, considering I scored more points than everybody in the league, I don't understand how this is fair. Yahoo sent me an email and told me I had a shitty C- season. It said,
you did, Jeff Solomon.
It said you probably trusted your process. Maybe next year come up with a better process. The email talks shit to me.
I mean, let's be honest, Jeff Solomon. You finished 11th in the league.
I scored more points than anybody else.
And you finished 11th.
If I'd have played
11th, Jeff Solomon,
anybody else's schedule all year long, I would have been.
Do better, Jeff Solomon.
No. No. I'm going to play what ifs forever.
Fine. You can have the President's Trophy of fantasy football for scoring the most points in the league.
I'm glad you finally admitted that hockey trophies are garbage. It took a while.
There's one hockey trophy that's worthwhile, and it's the best trophy in all of sports. The rest of them I don't give a shit about.
Stanley's butt?
Yes, because everybody wants to drink from Stanley's butt.
It's got a crack in it.
Let's move on because we have a new Patreon who really wants us to talk about her after that discussion. So let's get to New Patreon love after we're talking about the Stanley Butt. So we have a new patron to the show, and we would like to welcome Laura K to our little yet growing Patreon family. Laura is joined in at the $1 a month level, meaning that she gets to download the show at least a day earlier than everyone else. Plus, she now gets to spend some quality time with us extra once a month with our after party, where we drink during the whole episode, then we turn the camera off, drink some more, but hit the record button for some extra fun. So she's also going to get some stickers. I found out I have to reorder stickers, so I'll be getting those, Laura, and then getting them sent out to you. So, we really appreciate your support, Laura. So thank you so much, and welcome to the community.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
And to the rest of you lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers.
To the rest of you freeloaders, I'll tell you what. Will you come find me on Yahoo Daily Fantasy? I'm just going to take your money. Head-to-head game, I will take $1 from you. Because at this point, I think I've earned it. I've earned that damn dollar. You let me know. By the way, Jeff, we need to, something's wrong with my email, otherjeff@welikedrinking.com. I remember you had email issues. We'll figure it out later. But
let's just do it on the show. Let's see.
Let's work this out right now. What's my password again? So, anyways, you come find me. Come find me in the tavern. I will post a head-to-head matchup in Yahoo Daily Fantasy for this week of the playoffs. I will take $1 from you, and I will put it towards John's new microphone that we just got him.
You know what? You take that $1, you're still going to swipe it with one of those pens to make sure it's not counterfeit, right?
Certainly.
Okay. So if we're
actually Yahoo takes a VIG, so I'll take your 80 cents.
All right. So okay, if we're talking about Patreons, Stanley's Butt, Daily Fantasy Football, it, for the love of God, must be
Last call.
Last call. Time to shut down whatever the hell this episode is. So you know what we do here, folks. It's your last chance to get a hookup with us for this episode. So, John Ruyak, why don't you take us out with this?
Well, you know what? Follow us on the socials. We're out there on Twitter. We're on Instagram, our private Facebook group known as The Tavern. Search up the show on Apple Podcasts. Leave us that big 5-star review, the one that's dripping with all the turkey gravy, right? Visit the WeLikeDrinking.com/pledge to find out more about, what Laura K just did, joining us as a Patreon, making sure we drink box wine again 2 months from now on our wine episode, or Chimay Silver on the beer drinking episode next month. Who knows?
That'd be fun.
Chimay Silver, it ages forever.
Forever.
That's because they double bag it.
That's right. You can also find the show notes for this episode with all the links to the stories or mentions we had at welikedrinking.com/episodes. Or if you're on your phone, just swipe right. Man, we took a couple weeks off. We really got out of the groove on how to do a show.
We had to shake that one out. All right. So now let's do the real one.
Okay, here we go. All right. So we've reached the time of the show where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
Just real quick before I go into my point, are my teeth stained purple from this box?
No.
Okay. So when you're having a boatload of people come over to your house, Sharon and I, we had 9 people here for Christmas. And we had a little powwow before everybody showed up, and we're like, which of these bottles of wine are we going to hide from everybody else? Don't grab them out and just open them up and drink them. And you know what? So we went through some nice Oregonian Pinot Noirs and some Nebbiolos and stuff like that. And we took them aside and hid them. But I went and got John and Sarah and Yuli and Sarah's mom from the airport on Christmas Eve, and I came back to the house, and lo and behold, my bottle of Vivac Alianico was opened.
No.
Oh, there was just enough for like 2/3 of a glass for me, and I was gracious. I'm like, did you like it? Oh, it was great. That's one of the best wines I've ever had. I'm like, yeah, I know.
I'll let Jesse know how good it was.
Oh, I shed a tear. Yeah, I did.
At least you got a partial glass.
I got a partial glass out of it.
Jeff Solomon.
Hey, all you freeloaders, you can find me as Jeff is Rad in Yahoo Daily Fantasy Football. I'm just saying. You want me to sing some Ugly Kid Joe?
No.
Okay.
No,
I won't. I absolutely won't.
All right. And listeners, thank you for coming with us on John's just draining his glass. We are looking forward to 2019. We're going to continue. We got some other changes coming. Thank you for being a part of this, and we look forward to enjoying another year of this tomfoolery with you. And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast, where you'll never drink alone.
All acquaintance we forgot and never brought to mind. Tell all acquaintance we forgot in days of old legs.
Oh, damn it. You know what we do here in Albuquerque on New Year's Eve?
In days of old legs, what are lang synes anyways?
Thank you for joining us, listeners.
Well, it's too bad you didn't prepare me for that, because in Albuquerque we fire high caliber rifles up into the air.
Why not?
Oh, by the way, Wen wants to know why no smoked whale testicles.
Oh, I wasn't sure if we should talk about that on the show or not, but
no, it's just dying at slow death.
Yeah, we had a kind of a team meeting. It's been about a month ago, and talked about some potential changes to the show. And smoked whale testicles, we decided to kind of phase out of the show. I guess we're just maturing out of adolescence by like half a day.
So we're like have some weird like variation of dog years. How long have we been around?
This is our 5th year.
Yeah, we're rolling into year 5. We're 3 weeks out from year 5, the start of year 5.
Yeah. So and people might say it every once in a while but we're dropping the record scratch.
And it's not going to be like we focus on it. And I don't know. It seemed like it'd run its course.
Way over
about 3 years ago. So I mean, I know people got a kick out of it, but it was just something we decided it was kind of time to phase out. We got rid of the movie quotes at the end of the show as well. That was more of like a time saving thing, because it was taking a lot of time to try to find those movie quotes to throw in there, and I wasn't really sure what we were gaining on it, what the ROI of it was for the show. Making the change to Grape Hopper pop culture reference as well. And then as we get into February and March, you may see some other changes coming to what we're doing with the show. So we're trying to evolve a little bit and make some changes to make a better show. That's all. And unless people think that smoked whale testicles really was making the show a better show.
We did raise awareness.
We did.
Regarding the Icelandic beer culture.
He does love the grape pop and hops change.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And honestly, her big question was like, she thought she missed it. She was like, wait a second, I'm always
did I blink?
You're like always listening for it. Like, see, that's the thing that Eccles, that's the thing. that we should have been thinking about. Like that's the reason why people listen. They're waiting for that.
They're waiting for the record scratch and the smoked whale and John to say smoked whale testicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just very rare.
There you go.
I'm saying Jeff might break out a record scratch one of these days, but
it's still queued up. I mean, it could still happen. So, all right. Wen, thank you for joining us for the whole show, and thank you for your input on the Coravin.
That was cool.
That was much appreciated. Mom, thank you for watching.
Wen did want to make sure that you knew that that's absolutely not why she listens. She's not listening just for smoked whale testicles.
Well, darn.
Have a great night, Wen. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Jeff McKinney.